Hey, so I'm with 8 Samson, or 8Tred Da Gr8, musician,
Yeah.
scenester,
Yeah.
organizer, promoter, kind of like the pinnacle of a kind of thriving London-wide scene of musicians,
Literally.
artists, and party folk, I guess.
Time travel.
Time traveling all around, you might hear that again. So let's go straight into it. So where did you grow up?
Southeast London, Lewisham all my life. It's been a funny trip because music started here, but at the same time, it's like, it doesn't feel like home. So it's like a waiting trip to just go somewhere else, but music felt like the vehicle to take me somewhere else. So it's like, yeah. So it's like the start of music is this place to me, but it's not actually home. Like, yeah.
It doesn't feel like home. You feel like you're still looking for a home. You're looking for a home, or
literally, like in this trip we're in right now, like I'm still trying to figure out how to make a house a home, and art is literally how I get through it all the time.
Right.
So yeah, home, man.
So what got you into music in the first place?
Having to have a story to tell, but I didn't know how to communicate. Like, so when I was younger, I spoke very early. Like my first words, can't even remember how young I was, but my mum said I was young. And since then, I was quiet as well. But when I figured out like the stuff I wanted to talk about, it was more like deep stuff where I just didn't talk about anything. And then music just gave me a way to just talk about anything, but just even the stuff that means something, if that makes sense. So it's
like the context of of songs or lyrics, I guess, right? Just you're speaking.
Yeah, so it's like songs made understanding concepts easier for me, if that makes sense. So say you go through a breakup and you make a breakup song, then there's going to be parts of that song that makes the moment clearer, if that makes sense. So stuff like that.
Like, yeah, you're working out what you're actually going on by...
Literally.
Is it the improvisation of like the lyrics that where you find this truth or this...
Yeah, it's like when you're just talking and out of nowhere, you're just like, hey, we can make a song around that. Yeah. That kind of feeling. It's like when you have an idea, it's like a dream. It's like that feeling of you have a perspective and a feeling about something, but there needs to be like a way to experience it with your different senses, if that makes sense.
You're an artist, musician, you make beats, you do rap, you sing, you put your own thing together, but like you seem to be mainly focused on bringing other people together.
Yeah.
Bringing people in. Like you know, as I say, it's kind of a bit of a thriving scene that's going on with you, and a lot of your friends, a lot of people that you've kind of drawn in along the way. Like I've heard a lot of stories about how you've met certain people. Like I've heard you tripped over someone at a gig.
Yeah, right. That's the funniest thing ever because he was just on the floor, lying down, looking up, almost like he's just waiting for someone to trip over him. And I'm like, out of all people, me, like this is when I'm just in, health is just all over the gaff, and then Cat's just on the floor and I trip over him. And then it was like a moment of clarity and like what you're looking for is right in front of you kind of thing. And Cat then played a big role in the whole process of this album being made, but just in a way of allowing me to experiment with new sounds, and he's just playing guitar and I'm thinking of different melodies and stuff. And like even his style and stuff is very inspiring. And I feel like that's the way I bring people together randomly, is just like seeing moments in life and how it clicks, and then seeing what new creation like comes out of it.
Right. So it's very kind of like linked to whatever situation you're in at the time. It's like it's inseparable.
Literally. Yeah. I'm actively conscious of I need to network, but there's an energy field drawing me towards people.
Yeah,
whether I trip over them or I ask them a question.
Yeah.
It's literally always...
You obviously enjoy it, and it's social as well.
It's like the easiest way for me to figure out what I'm actually meant to be doing, just following the signs, and if it just keeps on adding up, then it adds up.
Yeah.
Like there's an opposite side to me where like people don't make sense in my life, and I'm like, X out, remove them.
Right.
They're dead to me.
But it seems to me that most of the time you're right, and your instinct is spot on.
It's a deep one, but I'm also paranoid. You know, like there's times where I'm just like, you know what? Someone seems like they're trying to make sense in the world, but they don't make sense in the world.
Right.
Like, and I'm talking about my world, not the actual like big world, but it's just so Yeah, it's all about
As in terms of bringing them
intuition.
into
Yeah,
your thing.
it's such an intuition thing.
Well, so you've got an album coming out, and
Yeah.
a lot you're bringing in a lot of the people together that you kind of met along the way. How's that going? The process.
So it's like the tracks in it. There's First Deal, and it's talking about how Teddy showed me Kanye West for the first time in school, and then there's another track about like my first experience of finding out that I'm going through heart failure, and that's on 8 and all these tracks are like chapters in my reality, but Paranormal Media was able to tell the story of how my reality syncs in with what's going on in the bigger picture of the world. And I feel like that's why I had to have people on it, because people are also experiencing the world with me. You know, it's like a good reflection of my reality with how much time I spend alone and how much time I'm around people.
Yeah.
Is what the music sounds like.
Right. It's got the balance of your day-to-day socially and people around you.
Literally.
And you say you were in hospital, right? You had you had a pretty tough time, right?
Time
This is in the
for-
middle of doing all this stuff, right? It happens. What happened? A little bit about that, maybe. That's a very long story. I know.
It's like, it was a time travel trip. It's like I found out that I was going through heart failure since 2015. Didn't even know, because
Crazy.
just the communication with the NHS. And then, yeah, it's like when life started to glitch out, it was the same time where the album started to make sense together. But I'm saying this whole time travel thing whilst like having just weird like blackouts where I'll just go to sleep and wake up like tired, or like I won't be able to like eat and I just start throwing up, and it was just a weird off balance. And then, you know the thing when you go to the hospital and they take your blood pressure, I always beep it like BPM. It feels like BPM, like when you're getting the beat for a track.
Yeah.
And do you know, like, and that's the feeling of it, that being in hospital was like I had to work on how to actually get my blood pressure, for example, in like the key tempo that works for the way my body works, if that makes sense. And yeah, that process was a trip. Like,
Do you mean you've had to like try to self-regulate your heartbeat
yeah,
because it was too fast and you would get it, which is what caused it?
no, it was beating like
Irregular.
Yeah, it's a long story, but at the same time, it's what heart failure is. So it's not like, oh, I'm gonna die and whatever. It's like there's something about the process that's failing. So it's like when you're using a computer and there's an error somewhere, then you have to run diagnostics. It's like, oh, there's the problem there, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
And this all happened around this recording of this album, and I saw you promoting it, and you came out of hospital that day. I believe you went back that night.
yeah, literally.
That's crazy, man.
So
You've got to
from
take
the
care of
show-
yourself.
From hospital to the show, then to hospital again.
Yeah.
At the same time, like going to the show actually gave me some sort of energy and life, in the sense of not even that could stop me. Do you know what I mean? Like, so even though like I was falling on stage and whatever, it was like, it keeps me alive in some sense. Like, it's very deep, like having a passion for something like that.
Yeah. What do you want people to take away from like your events, let's say? The nights that you put on, or the music you record, or the whole thing you do? What do you want people to take away?
Life is meant to be like a carnival kind of vibe, like where everyone's just networking, sharing art, sharing like the energy and stuff. So I feel like that's the way life is meant to feel. But the fact that we only have events in the evening and stuff pretty keeps it like making it seem like it's a party kind of feeling, but really it's like people coming together to share ideas and experience each other's art and ideas and stuff. And I feel like if life was like that a lot of the time more, then it would be looked at less of an event and just living life like everything's
Right. Rather than like, it always happens where people are drinking and dancing and it's like the night. It's a party, but it doesn't have to be a party, meaning it ends late, people drink, or people have to get up, feeling shit in the morning or whatever. But it's a party because music is a party, but I think I know what you mean.
It's literally like this environment, like it's got a controlled chaos feeling to it, but it's like taking the parts of life that I enjoy and then other people enjoy, and finding a balance of how to have that all the time but not drown in it, kind of thing.
Right. What is your purpose? I'd say I usually ask musicians, I say, what is your purpose as an artist? But applying that to all the things you do that we've been talking about, what do you think your purpose in life is?
To build communities, to build products like ideas, to build just a version of the world that's easier for people to navigate in, but at the same time, there's like trials that I have to go through to actually figure out what these things are. And I figured out the other day, my thing in life isn't that I actually like to help people. My thing in life is that I'm trying to see how many different ways I can get the thing I want, but get what somebody else wants in that same thing. Because that's the connection point is now how you make a community. But when a community is made, and let's say it's just from that person's perspective and only what they want, then the king gets overthrown kind of thing.
Right, yeah.
You know, so it's like everyone's in control in the world we've built, but at the same time, the purpose of it is it's literally to give everyone their power in some sense in the art trip.
Yeah.
But also, like, yeah.
That's really nice. And a lot of the time, like, great art comes out from a community thing.
Yeah.
A scene, often from a venue, different bands like meeting and exchanging ideas and supporting each other.
Literally.
Because the industry is long gone in that way. Not that it was ever supportive for the artists, it's always ripped off artists, but from the beginning of time, you know, from like freaking tribes, I mean, that is the real community music, but to now, like, if people can do look after each other.
Literally.
You know, it often leads to more of a, like, and inspire each other, right?
Yeah. And I feel like we're meant to be experiencing life together in some sense. But at the same time, there's this online culture that we live in, or classism and all these different things that makes everything like just separate, like the VIP section in the club kind of
right
thing. Like everything should just be one, and then that is the purpose, the goal, the plan, what's in progress, and we have to navigate through paranormal media to get there.
Right.
So yeah, why not have a soundtrack for it?
That's beautiful, man. Thank you very much. Great answer.
My guy.
8, check out the album Paranoid Media out on the 25th of January.
Paranormal Media.
Paranormal, did I say paranoid? Paranormal Media. 8
It is Paranoid Media as well, man, for real.
True. Thank you.